When I prepare for out-of-state hunt, and I'm sure Eric can back me up on this. There's this whole process I have. It's about 15 minutes before I leave. I run upstairs and find a pair of pants that ain't too dirty. I throw them in there as an extra pair. I try to find a pair of underwear that ain't too dirty and an extra pair of socks, just in case I get wet, or I get so sweated up that the guys are complaining about how bad I stink. And then if I find a jar of pickles around or something, I'll throw that in there too. And then we hit the road, and then I'm figuring out where to go as I go. No, really, there isn't a lot of preparation for me, but I think there should be. And the reason there isn't is because I live a hectic lifestyle. It's really hard for me to find time to do anything. Usually just before a road trip, I'm hunting my butt off, so I don't have time to look at stuff. And if I look at maps, say 2 months in advance, I ain't going to remember anything because I'm looking at maps every day. So just prior to going, I will try to find some time. And about the only time I have time is if I sit down at work and spend a work day while I'm, supposed to be running machines looking at maps. And then I'll map some spots out on some properties, but I will also make some phone calls. I've found that biologists and DNR wardens and stuff can be hit or miss, and some of them won't help you. I've been in some places where they tell me if I helped you and I helped everybody kill all the deer. And I've had some that are real helpful. As Eric said, that warden that stopped us, the first thing he wanted to see was our license. And as soon as we showed him our license, he said, "Where are you guys from? How you hunt? You're hunting deer? You travel? You got a YouTube channel? That's cool. Here's where you're going to find the big bucks. This property here." And Eric says, "Well, I looked at this property here." And we're talking about a property that was what, like 100 miles away. And he goes, "Oh yeah, I've been to that property. My friend hunts there, and that's a good property. And here's where you want to go over there." And, if you can get in the right people, it's not like, they're going to tell you exactly where the deer is, but if they tell you an area where mature deer live, it gives you a huge advantage of at least you're going in knowing you had high probability of finding a deer. Because a lot of times when you're traveling on these trips, you get into spots and you get back there and you can't find any sign of a big buck, and you sign a ton of pressure. It is weird because some properties, looking at a map, you'd think nobody would be there, and there's a ton of people there. And some of them you think there'll be a ton of people there and there's nobody there. And you really don't know if you go into a whole new state what you're going to run into, so a little bit of insight from somebody out there that knows something is probably a good thing, So I will, if I know somebody from that area or from that state, I might call them up and say, "Well, what do you think about this area? You ever check out any of these public properties?" I do find you have to know somebody pretty good, or they're not going to tell you the properties that hold the best bucks.
Sure.
But if you get into areas or something, I don't necessarily even want to know the property, but what area of the state, what counties, are better per se. Mostly I'm looking at pressure because I want to get into places that I can get away from people. I can find good terrains. Another thing I'm looking for is you can get on properties that are too complex. And what I mean by that is it would take you a month to figure out all the bedding areas in there and stuff. They're just too complex. Or you can get in an area that's very big and has a few good spots in the center and go right past everybody to those good spots, check them out and hunt them. And those are a lot easier on road trips. So picking the right properties and really thinking about, what is it going to take to get into this property and look at this stuff, and how much time is it going to involve? When you got a week, I mean, like Nebraska last year, we really wanted to experience the state. We spread out, and I think we pretty much hunted the whole entire state. We covered hundreds and hundreds of miles. I mean, I can't believe the amount of miles I put on the truck and stuff. I mean, it was literally crazy. But that really, in doing that and looking at hunting right on the Iowa border one day, and the next day hunting central Iowa up by the Sand Hills or whatever, and then back to the other end the next day, the amount of travel doing that, you're not scouting. You know what I mean? You're not working. You're not reading maps. You're just staring at a road. So really, picking an area and concentrating it would have been a lot better on that trip. Or 4 days here, 4 days there. But part of the problem was we had 4 people that wanted to hunt 4 different areas really bad and kind of stuffed together. So that made us travel more. And then we had locked into a bed and breakfast. I don't think locking into a place is a good thing, because then we were kind of locked there for, this is where we're going to stay. And then if you want to hunt this property over here, you have to drive there. And if it's 100 miles, it's 100 miles, or it's 200 miles, it's 200 miles. And that's a 400-mile round trip. So it was, that I learned some lessons there a little bit. Not that I didn't already know them, but I just tried pushing my luck, I guess.